So yeah, here I am narrating a presentation about a giant, what is that? A giant seawall, and it's shaped like a snake? Huh. Hey, I know what you're thinking. Why is Ryan Reynolds doing this? Who paid him? Is he in danger? Is he okay? Honestly, though, I have no idea. My agent recently stopped calling me, and somehow this seemed like the next logical step. A low budget classroom presentation on some very unique niche topic. But hey, let's roll with it. Okay, here we go. So these are the builders, the sea serpent builders. And they were a Southeast Asian coastal civilization from around 1000 BCE. That's way back when people looked at the ocean and thought, you know what? This is absolutely terrifying. Let's just worship it then. Picture a group that's part Moana, part that one guy that you know who will never stop talking about that one time he kayaked around the lake. Except the builders here, they actually had the skills to back everything up. So these folks worship the giant serpent god, right? So, this god, think, kind of protector of the sea, bringer of calm waters, and at a dash of occasionally the reason for really, really horrible weather. So these builders, their claim to fame, right? It was building a massive, I'm talking big, seawall / art piece / spiritual hub. And they called it the Serpent's Path. Well, that's what we call it, thinking that they called it that. Anyway, someone somewhere with more education than me calls it the Serpent's Path. Oh yes, here we are. These are the sea serpent builders. Try saying that 8 times fast. Anyway, look at these little cutie patooties in their adorable little outrigger boats. Small? Yeah. Nimble? Sure. Able to carry an absurd amount of rocks for monumental construction? Apparently. These boats were compact, agile, and definitely not OSHA approved. So these little guys, they would paddle across the ocean, dodging waves, sharks, and the occasional existential crisis. I mean, I would have one too, wondering why I signed up for the job in the freaking first place. But anyway, moving on. Props to them for turning fishing boats into cargo ships. I mean, they were out of their mind. So these bad boys, outriggers, they're called, apparently, they were shockingly good at hauling these massive amounts of stone. Stones from the various regions of the area. You got your basalt and your quartz, all sorts of rocks. We all know that one kid in our class that loved rocks, really, really loved rocks. Now imagine a whole civilization like that. Absolutely wild. Okay, design time. The Serpent's Path, well, it's not just a wall. It's art. We're talking polished quartz, sandstone, and basalt. Smooth, reflective surfaces for that I woke up like this vibe. So demure. The shape? It's serpentine. Hold on. Yeah. Serpentine's not really a shape, is it? It is? Well, I don't want to say that. Okay, the shape, disregard. The shape is like an S, like waves. Ocean waves, you get it? Anyways, so these guys, they threw in carbines and they called them milestone markers. And, if you're looking at these milestone markers, they're like, what are they? Well, let me tell you what they are. And they are these milestone markers. There are too many alliterations in this presentation. They told stories, they marked rituals, and honestly, according to my notes and what I can gather here, they probably confused the hell out of your archaeologists. Each of these milestone markers were telling a story, honoring a ritual, or just reminding future generations, hey, this thing wasn't easy to build, so appreciate it. All right, moving forward, Now take a look at this. This is where things get kind of clever. The Serpent's Path. It wasn't just designed there to look pretty. It had actual purposes and had that kind of multiple functionalities to it. On one hand, it interacted with the ocean. And in this kind of form, you could say, like, you have your high tide. At high tide, it blended seamlessly into the scenescape with the waves and the very stones shimmering from the sunlight. Kind of high key showing off. And at low tide, when the water was pulled back, the Serpent's Path revealed carvings that are all along its baseline from beneath the waterline originally. And these carvings, they really revealed intricate designs and motifs telling the story of what the culture was all about. They're all about that ocean, all about that water, and all about them rocks. Anyways, so the seawall has, two personalities. Kind of like that one person you went out with on the first date, and then by date number 3, you realize that wasn't exactly the same person. Similar, but not. Anyways, one moment it's like protecting the coast, and the next it's revealing ancient secrets, storytelling of the lineage of the people. Practical and poetic, I'd say. Honestly, this is pretty cool. All right. Now we get to the heart of it. The symbolism, the mystery. Serpent's Path, it wasn't just the wall. I mean, if you built a giant, massive wall that took decades, if not hundreds of years to complete, with countless amounts of lives lost in its construction, you'd probably want to have some extra meaning too. Can you blame them? So, this monument, dual purpose, right? First, as previously discussed, it protected the coastline from storms, acting as a literal barrier between land and sea. But second, and follow me along here, this is where it gets deep, it was also a pathway to the afterlife. It's kind of all-in-one solution to everything going on in our lives. Here's how it worked. Under the tide line, names of the departed were carved into the stone. And during high tide, these names were symbolically swept out to sea, where they joined the serpent deity, the big old snake in the ocean. Put grandma down there, and there she goes, and we'll carve her name in the stone, so we always remember her. She loved that seawall. Anyways, these carvings, they told stories, they honored the ancestors, and they turned the structure into something more meaningful than just a big old pile of rocks. Anyways, these stones of passage, they weren't just, carvings in the stone. They were ancient roadmaps to oblivion. Up top, you got the family name, nice straightforward. Probably says Smith or something like that. Let's go with Smith. Anyway, it was like signing the guest book for the afterlife. Below that, you've got cause of death. Basically a little how it happened to recap because, closure matters. And these wavy lines here on the second line, they're not just decorative. They tell a story of how dramatic or not their exit was. Peaceful passing, gentle curves. Went out swinging, a bit more intense. And this bottom line here, that's the universal "this way to the eternal waters" guide. All right, so let's take a moment here and see who has the bigger wall. But for real though, the Serpent's Path, looking at it from right here, those two little pictures, you can see some comparisons, some similarities. Take the Great Wall of China. Both are massive feats of engineering, and they both were designed to protect their people from arguably pretty different sources though. So, both are kind of testaments to human ambition. The Great Wall stretches across mountains, on land, and it was mainly constructed to keep, the invading hordes out. Those darn Mongolians. Anyway, the Serpent's Path, it kind of had its own Mongolians, but it was the giant waves that would destroy everything in their path. So, anyways, All right. Dome of the Rock. A spiritual masterpiece and an architectural flex of epic proportions. Now you're probably thinking, how does this giant seawall called the Serpent's Path compare to this iconic wonder? That's a great question, actually. Let me move my notes here. Okay, I can see the parallels. Both use bright, catching materials, like, the dome's intricate mosaics, and the Serpent's Path, he used a ton of polished quartz and other brilliant gemstones along its surface to capture the eye. Neither really bothers, using people or, actual figures in their designs of, but I guess you'd say it's about the abstract patterns and the symbols and that timeless, let's not make it about us vibe. So anyways, moving on. Both serve as pathways. The Dome of the Rock is where, allegedly, heaven meets earth, a direct hotline to the divine. The Serpent's Path? Similar. It's the oceanic version of that, guiding souls into eternity. Different elements, same existential goal, and of course, both are hubs for pilgrimage. Whether you're praying on the sacred ground or carving your ancestor's name into the stone, you're part of something bigger.